Okay, this is chapters 86 through 90 of Lock the Doors. 86. We need your car, I say down the phone. Just my car? asks Zach. Or will you also be requiring a driver? Nia laughs and he says, Am I on speaker? Because you should always warn people if they are. I could have told you what I really think about your stepsister. We all know you love me, she says. Zach snorts. Are you doing group chats now? I thought. He stops because he is this close to insulting at least one of us. I know what he means because me and Nia huddled around the same phone isn't a sight he's used to, but a lot has happened since yesterday. We need your driving skills and your secrecy, I say. Zach is quiet for a while, then he says, This is another Amy thing, isn't it? Sort of, Nia replies. Are you coming? This is very odd, he says. Listen for the honk. 15 minutes later, Zach is out front, and Nia shouts goodbye before Mom can ask where we're going. We quickly stuff what we need into the trunk, and when Zach sees, he says, What is that for? We'll explain everything, I say. Please just drive. Mom comes to the front window with a strange look on her face because this isn't how she expected us to spend the first day of the school break. She's going to ask questions, Zach says. Nia says. I'm going to ask questions, says Zach. What happened to you two? Are you friends now? We have a common enemy, Nia says, and then when she sees my face, but yes, you could see that. I check my phone, then tap a zip code into Zach's GPS. We have it all planned. Last night we searched Google Maps for hours looking for anything that stood out from our road trip with the Pierces. I fell asleep before Nia did, but this morning she woke me with a smile that said it worked. Where are we going? Zach asks. I'm not sure, but we'll know when we get there. He looks at Nia through the rearview mirror and says, How the hell did he convince you to get involved? Amy's mom is a psychopath, my sister tells him. She kidnapped Aaron just to show us what she'd do if Tom didn't stop digging. What the fuck? We should probably tell you about Logan, I say. 87. So you were right, Zach says. I was, but just like Nia said it, I'm not pleased. I didn't want to be right. I want Amy to be happy and Logan to be with his real family and Will to be alive. The thought of losing Aaron terrifies me, so I can only imagine how Will's death could twist a family inside out. I recognize this, Nia says. It's not far. Look out for where we parked. There, I say, and Zach pulls in so fast we all jolt. We don't get out right away. We sit in silence because we're scared and excited and uncertain. I run through what happened yesterday and wonder if this is another trap. Except there was a rock with Will's initials on it and Jane looked different. When she bent down and whispered to the ground, she seemed almost at peace. Would they really be that stupid showing us where Will was buried just to prove a point? Maybe they underestimated our sense of direction, or perhaps they don't care because they thought Aaron's abduction was enough to keep us quiet. Okay, Nia says at last. Are you ready? I'm not, but maybe I never will be. I don't want to see what's buried beneath that stone, yet it's the only way to protect us. Jane's threat will be like a scar on every day Aaron visits until we stop her. I nod and open the car door, then watch Nia go to the trunk and pull out a spade. When do I get an explanation for that? Zach asks. He's still trying to make jokes, but I can see how scared he is. He knows what the spade is for, but is desperately hoping for a different answer. The truth is, so am I. I can't say it. I can't even think it. I just follow Nia through the woods and try to stay calm. It takes longer than I remember, but we don't have someone guiding us this time. Instead, we follow the flattened grass and the dried dirt until we finally reach the clearing. I'm half expecting Jane to be there, waiting for us, but it's empty. There's nothing except the song of a single bird hidden in the trees and the distant hum of cars. Nia picks up the stone and hands it to me. Up close, the carving looks familiar to the patterns on the box we found in Amy's garden. W.P. William Pierce. This is the closest he'll get to a gravestone. I hold out my hand. I'll do it. The sound of the spade hitting the dirt makes me shiver. Are you sure you want to do this? Nia asks. Still digging, I say. What choice do we have? We could tell the police. They could find whatever's in there. And if there's nothing, we're the ones who look wrong. We need evidence. Jane has footage of me and Zach breaking into her garden and of me throwing stones at her windows. What do we have? Zach makes a face. They recorded that? Is there anything else I should know? Sorry, but you're safe, provided we don't do anything else stupid. He's right. This is stupid. It's reckless and insane, and we need to do something. After a while, Nia takes a spade and we swap places. The earth is softer now, but no matter how deep we go, there's nothing but dirt. Finally, Zach gives a sigh. My turn, he says, and Nia hands him the spade and flexes her fingers. He keeps digging long after I realized we're wrong. There's nothing here except a stone with Will's initials on. Jane brought us because it wasn't a risk. She didn't take us to the scene of the crime. This is just where she comes to remember. I'm sorry, Nia says, and so am I a little bit, but I'm also relieved. I didn't want to dig up a dead body. I want this to be over without seeing the truth. I start filling in the hole because the next time Jane comes, she'll know what we did. Even with the ground level again and the stone back in place, it looks different. She will know what we came looking for, and she'll know that we failed. We just have to hope it rains hard or she doesn't come here often. Only time and nature will cover our tracks. It was always a long shot, Nia says. So that's it? Zach asks. No, I say. We just have to think of something else. We don't leave right away. We sit on the forest floor with our sweat and our fear and our failure and try to figure out another plan. When we get home, Mom will ask where we've been, and she'll know if I lie. She always knows. It just depends on how important the truth is to her. Perhaps it will be enough that I'm with Nia. Maybe she'll think this is our blended family finally slotting into place. Mom waited years for this life. She told me it would come, but I didn't believe her. She said it would get better, and I thought better was a week without an undisturbed bath or a laugh my brother could barely finish. When better finally happened, it was a release. It was freedom. And only then did I realize how trapped we'd been. People like Jane think they're unbeatable. They think no one is ever going to fight back. This time we tried, but it wasn't enough. Zach jumps, looks behind him, and whispers, "What was that?" "What?" Nia asks. He tilts his head. "I think I heard something." We all listen, but it's just the same sounds. There. He points toward the hidden path. There's a crack, then another, the slow crunch of dried leaves until it's unmistakable. Someone is coming. 88. Shit, Zach whispers, and I freeze because I can't believe my eyes. Amy, Nia says, and then her body bristling. Is this some kind of sick game? I look towards the tree, searching for Jane or Chris and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But Amy steps forward with her hands held out and says, "It's not a game." She looks behind us at the fake grave we dug up and refilled and says, "You figured it out." There's nothing there, I say. No, but it's still important. Amy walks past us and stares at the ground, then picks up the stone with her brother's initials. We were here less than 24 hours ago, but it feels so different this time. Yesterday, Amy looked terrified. Today, it feels like she's the one in control. How did you know we were here? I ask. Amy passes the stone between her hands and finally says, I heard the car beep. Zach looks uncomfortable and she says, Don't worry, she's not here. I knew you'd come back, Tom. I saw the moment you figured it out. And when I saw Nia with the spade this morning, the girls swap looks, then Amy says, I'm so sorry for what she did to Aaron. We never wanted that to happen. Really? Nia says, because your dad knew exactly where he was going, and you didn't put up much of a fight. I want to defend Amy because my sister doesn't know what she's been through. She doesn't realize that some people's fight mode broke years ago. But I flash back to Chris and his daughter whispering as they led us here. If they weren't talking about betraying us, what were they discussing? Amy crouches next to the dirt they've just packed tightly, rests the stone to one side, then reaches for our spade. What's happening? Zach mumbles, and Nia and I shake our heads. We thought we'd come here and find the proof that could finally save Logan and Amy, but now she's the one digging. I step forward and ask what she's doing, but Amy doesn't answer. Can I help? Yes, but not yet. We watch as Amy digs and then kicks at the dirt. When she finally sits back and slows her breathing, her hands are muddy and her face looks washed out. What are you doing? Nia says. Your mom will go mental when she sees this. She'll come for Aaron again. No, Amy says. She'll come for Tom, and we'll be ready. 89. Back on the main road, Chris is in his car, and Amy walks over and sits in the passenger seat. They don't turn to each other. They both look at the three of us. Zach whispers, This is proper creepy. And Nia says, What if it's a trap? They're trying their best not to move their lips because Chris and Amy are watching us as they pull away. It's not a trap, I say. Jane is really, really good at this. She came to our house for dinner. She tricked Mom and Jay. And she brought us here because she thinks we can be broken like Amy and Logan were. But they're not as broken as she thinks. or she completely brainwashed them. No, Amy's right. If we want to win, we need the people on our side. Something surges inside me, a mixture of excitement and panic as I say, we need to tell our parents. Dad will go ballistic, Nia says. He'll knock their bloody door down. Not if we do it right. We tell them everything and we make sure they listen. Jane thinks her family is untouchable because of what she's done to them, but she's never met ours. Yeah, Zach says. Sorry, but that was a pretty good speech. And Nia laughs. Then we drive home to the people who have no idea what we're about to tell them. I think of Amy the whole way, kicking myself for not seeing it sooner. I pushed and pushed, asking her questions she was too afraid to answer. I forced her to remember a brother she could never get back and another who wasn't real. The best times were when I stopped asking. Nia catches my eye in the mirror and says, I'll back you up. It feels good to hear it because for so long I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. I didn't know what was worth worrying about and what was just creepy coincidence. Now we're all in this together. 90. Tom has something he wants to tell you, Nia says, and you need to listen to all of it before you freak out. Everyone's in the living room, even Zach, who walked in without a word and is making his most serious face. When I'm done, Mom grips my hand and Jay stares in silence. He looks at each of us in turn, then, finally, he says, They took Aaron. Logan took him, but Jane made him do it. It was a warning. And there's a grave? No, I say. I think it's a shrine or something. It's where Jane goes to remember, but Mom glances at the dirt in my fingernails and I don't have to finish the sentence. What would we have done if there was a body? If I close my eyes, I can imagine what we might have seen, and I have to open them again before my insides shatter. And Amy, Mom says, she was coming to warn us, and now she has a plan. I don't like it, Jay says. It puts you all at risk. Why won't she just tell the police? Because Jane is good at hiding the truth. She'll twist it so Amy's the one who suffers, or she'll show the police the videos of me on their property and convince them I'm lying. Amy is all of the evidence we need, Jay says. She can bring them Logan. He can speak out. He won't. It's too late for that, I say. Jane needs to be caught red-handed. When Amy explained everything, it made perfect sense. But now, with time to think, I'm scared it won't work. It's this or nothing, I say. She probably won't come back to school anyway. Was that the real reason she left St. Gregory's? Did someone get too close to the truth and Jane threatened them before enrolling Amy at our school? I could speak to her, Mom says. And say what? I'll tell her I know exactly what it's like to feel trapped in your own house. I'll tell her I remember how it feels to be terrified every second of every day. And I'll tell her I don't feel like that anymore. There's a way out. She just needs to be brave and tell the police herself. Jane controls that family. I know what that feels like. But I also know things can change. Mom hasn't been this honest with me for a long time, but it's more than that. She's talking about our horrible history differently now. She isn't scared of it. She's in control. Mom left her old life behind when she married Jay, but she didn't forget what happened to us. She kept it close, the memories of all the tears and bruises and terror making her stronger somehow. She promised that if she ever met another monster, she'd win. That's why we had to tell her, because if anyone can help us stop Jane, it's my mother. We could figure out a way to get Amy alone again and convince her to speak out, Nia says. I'd rather that than risk Aaron getting hurt. It's not that easy. The house is a fortress. You only get in if they let you. Or you jump over a wall. Zach mumbles and I shoot him a look, but he shrugs. What? We've done it before. Mom's look is a mixture of confusion and concern, but she doesn't criticize me. Instead, she says, no one does anything else foolish. Tom's right. If we go to police without evidence for them to get a warrant, Jane and Chris could run and take Amy and Logan with them. We need to bide our time and have faith in Amy's idea. She knows her mother better than anyone. I can feel the anger coming off Jay in waves. His arms are pulled tightly against his body as though he's suppressing the urge to fight. Nia sees and rests her head on his shoulder, and slowly his shaking stops. He's a good man. Even now, knowing what he does about Aaron's disappearance, the part of him that won Mom over is winning again. I think of Amy frantically digging up the dirt where we thought her brother was buried and say, Jane will come here. We've made sure of that. How can you be certain? Jay says. What's the one thing even the cleverest monsters can't control? I ask. Mom looks concerned, then her face changes, and I see a thought sparkle and settle behind her eyes. Anger, she says.